Listen up. Do you want gear that works as hard as you do? Then I'm going to introduce you to Barbell Apparel. These guys at Barbell, they're not just making clothes, they're making a statement. How about to start with a lifetime guarantee? And yes, you heard me right. This is not just some flimsy promise. This is a commitment. Barbell's gear is built to move, it's built to last, and it's built for you. If something goes wrong, let's say your squat PR is too much for that seam, Barbell has got you covered. Repairs, replacements, no problem. Barbell will take care of it, no excuses. And here's the thing, bodies change. Maybe you're packing on muscle. Maybe you're leaning out. Whatever your journey, Barbell Apparel says, we got your back. If you need a new size, you will get a hassle-free exchange. No questions, no judgment. This is not just clothing. This is your partner in the grind. Their mission is simple. They want to fuel your fitness, help you break your own limits, and look cool while you're doing it. Barbell is built for the everyday athlete and backed for life. So if you're ready to gear up like a champion, go to Barbell Apparel or just click on the link below. Islam Makhachev did some media. And this was local stuff. This was in Dagestan. And that's very relevant. To get Islam in a comfort zone is probably nothing you've ever seen. You've probably never seen Islam Makhachev actually comfortable. And so he sits down with Dagestan. Media in Dagestan. They're praising him and they're shining him up for his big victory. And like everybody, we of course move to what's next. Now, Islam says, I don't have a lot of work left to do in my division. I'm not calling anybody out. We'll see what happens in Blal's next fight. He does not want to fight Blal, if you're wondering how to interpret that. These guys get along. But he also doesn't want to stay at 155 pounds. And he actually goes on to say, I beat Sarukian. I've beaten Dustin. And, okay. How is Islam going to get himself out of 155 pounds? Because when he lays out his case to not stick around, he says, I already fought Charles, right? He talks about the UFC's in a battle right now. Are they going to give me Sarukian or are they going to give me Charles? And the one thing these guys both have in common is I beat them both. So he's going into a rematch no matter what. And he already did some rematches with Volkanovski, just for example, which was also the extension of a pretty massive olive branch, right? For a 55-pounder to take on a 45-pounder, it's very hard. And for the 45-pounder, he's got everything to win. But the 55-pounder doesn't pick up another title if he beats him. I mean, do you see where it's different? And that's fine. If we're ever going to have the super fights that we like to have, a champion versus champion, somebody has to do that. It's just a matter of when somebody does that, they should get credit for it. And the only thing that Islam got for doing it is he got asked to do it again. Okay. Islam versus Blal. It does not work. Right? There's ways that you could get there, and you hardcore fans, we'd all be pretty curious as to what happened, but we've also heard them speak about each other. And we also know we get it. There's no heat in addition to that. Belal Muhammad is a master of creating conflict. So of the great ideas we could have for Belal, can we just agree that we're not dying to see him fight Islam? However, and forget about titles, let me just throw a matchup for you. Because Islam versus Rakhmonov works right now. Islam versus Gary works. Islam versus Covington works. Islam versus Kamar Usman works. Would anybody here like to disagree with me so far? I mean, at 170 pounds, it's a very compelling thing. Now, from a promotional standpoint, do you run into a problem with a guy cleaning house in two of your divisions? And I know to where that answer is yes, but please hear me out because I don't believe that historically speaking, yes is the right answer. Now make sure you understand this though. I'm not suggesting for you Islam, the 55-pound champion, go up to 170 pounds. I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting Islam, your 155-pound champion, leave 155 pounds and then goes up to 170. He goes there to stay. Title becomes vacated at 155. There's a very clear understanding. We're moving you up. We need a 3-fight deal. Win or lose, we need you to come up and do it again and do it again. This is going to be your new weight class. And conversations like that are very realistic within the UFC. There's nothing about that is politics or bureaucracy or demographic, nothing at all. You have these conversations very openly. And I just feel like for Islam to get to 170 pounds, he needs to keep running his damn mouth. I don't believe that Islam, much like Khabib, I don't believe those guys understand how compelling they are. I don't think that Islam is aware that he can go out and speak, and he can speak about the guys that he's beat, and he can speak about wanting to move a division, and he can speak about undefeated, and he can speak about that he thinks he can beat them, and not sound unsportsmanlike. I believe that he feels in his heart that that's an impolite thing to do. But it's not. There was nothing disrespectful in the interview that Islam did with the Dagestani media, but boy, it was interesting. And it was all very true. He talked about not wanting to go up to fight Blahal. He's right on that. That's not the fight. Blahal versus Rakhmonov is the fight. But what is going on with Blahal? That's a very fair question for everybody. Even Rakhmonov is wondering that. That's a very fair question. And that could provide for some kind of opportunity. If you're going to do an interim championship. I'm just, for example. But I think all of these things that Islam should be considered with the contingency that he leave 155. I don't love the idea of somebody holding it up. I didn't love when we did this with Amanda Nunes, just for example. And I'm a plenty big Amanda fan. I didn't love the idea of such little opportunity to be given there and then us as fans not fully knowing what division you're in. I preferred the way that Alex Pereira did it, which is I am now in this division. I will take on all comers. And I'll remind you, when Alex Pereira did it, by the way, contrary to how you might remember this, Alex Pereira did not move up into a world title fight. Don't forget that. Alex Pereira did not even move up into a main event. He took on a very dangerous former champion named Jan Blachowicz in a co-main. Very relevant. A lot of risks there. With any deal, there's some give and take, and I'm just reminding you of how Alex did this, because the more Islam talks, the more I am inclined to do things his way. He's very interesting. And there's something that's very persuasive. But he needs to do a little bit more of it. He needs to lay that case out just a little bit. And the one area that Islam doesn't like to do, and I don't predict for you that he's going to make a compromise on, is saying a name. He firmly believes, as a world champion, he firmly believes as a top guy, someone says his name, and he says yes. And I do think we're having a very, very different story if Islam gets to the point where he calls out by name a specific 170-pounder.